Hello. My name is Dovid Be Timeless. It's 4:20. Let's get high. All right. So we've been talking about sex because this is the week of sex. In that, there are 7 weeks that we count between the holiday of Passover and the holiday of Shavuot. Passover, we leave confined. In Shavuot, we get married to the Creator, receive the Torah. And in these 49 days, 7 times 7, we're supposed to fix these 2 lower triangles, that's 6. And then, when you put them together, you flip one or the other, it makes the Mogen Dovid, the Star of Dovid. And you have 6 points, which are these 6 triangles of the upper body and the lower body, turned towards one another, right? And it makes a hole in the center, and that is Malkuth, the 7th. That'll be next week. And then after that is finished, then we have Shavuot. So that's why we're speaking about sex. We always speak about sex, but anyways, it's a particular time. And I thought today that I would speak about the metaphor of sexuality in creation. And let me see if it. Yeah. Anyways, the books that I'm writing these days, the one I've just published, "Sex: A Metaphor to History," and Zohar, the one I'm God willing going to finish, going to publish in July. No, I forget what it was about the Zohar. Anyways, so in there, I talk about these things. So I'll talk about them now. The scientists, they recognize that all the stars came out of what they call a black hole. And at one hand, one could say that that was the birth of the universe. But actually, that's not true. That because in creation, there is male and female. There is duality. And so that which gives is considered male, and that which receives is considered female. And so the giving from the black hole was male, and the receiving of the universe, the space of the universe, was female, called in Zohar Nukva. And Nukva actually means a hole. It means also feminine. But so the idea is that I can see from this, like how the human being is created, that God, it went up into God's will to be known in low. So that was the genesis of creation, is this will of God, which then came down into logic and engraved into the Or Ein Sof, light without end, and produced from that, from this movement, because there was no movement in the Or Ein Sof. It was completely static. It was perfect. But suddenly there's this movement, and it begins to swirl, and from that is where weight is created, called Bocina de Cardenisa, a metal hardness. I see, Cardenisa is two words. Car in Aramaic means heavy, and din in Hebrew means law. So both of them are this contractive force, which eventually contracted down to what we know as the black hole and spurted out all of this energy that had been engraved with God's will and brought down into logic, and then spewed out into nukva, into the feminine. And this is precisely what happens in man. That man, sex is certainly beyond logic, and man, when he wants, say, a woman, that the man wants a woman is beyond logic. Someone could say maybe there's this wrong with her, or that wrong with her, or maybe she belongs to someone, or maybe all sorts of things, and it doesn't matter because will is beyond logic. And luckily, and in Kabbalah, will is called Erech Ampin, which means large faces, and the emotions, the 6 emotions, are called, I forgot. 6 emotions, they're called Zera Ampin, small faces. And what does that mean? So my teacher, Rababa, so he once told me that the face is a thief because the face is a thief because the emotions, the face steals the emotions from the heart and shows them to everyone. And now I forgot why I wanted to say that. Anyways, so I know why. Because emotions are beyond logic, and so is will. So one is considered a big face, meaning that it's based in emotions, based beyond logic, and the other is a little face, also based beyond logic. And in between, you have the head, which is logical. So the head is supposed to check out the will, and you can say to the person who has this will, the same person who is willing maybe a woman that is not right for him, and the man and the mind is supposed to say, hey man, that ain't cool, that woman's married to someone else, go look at another woman. Shouldn't be looking at a married woman, not with a like an appetite. Not a nice thing to do. And the mind has to, remind the person that this is not nice to do. You could get in trouble. You could hurt someone. That's what we do. We kind of talk. We're not really talking to ourselves. We're talking to our will. I want to do this. Why shouldn't I? And usually maybe the mind can talk you out of it. And sometimes the person just wants to do it so much. And maybe the person's depressed and just doesn't care what the mind says and will do it anyways. It's the way that we're made, and we're made in the same way of the the universe, except God doesn't get depressed. God knows exactly what God's doing and engraved everything there. And then there was this burst of energy, like an ejaculation that went out and just covered the entire expanse of this, it's called Mokum Paneh, this empty space. And in the same way that a man, when he wants a woman, that's what creates sperm. And it goes into the mind, And the mind, besides being logical, is also a sperm maker. That's the forehead, the third eye of knowing. That's why man knew woman, because because sex is a mental process, particularly for a man, and that's why a woman could change her gender to a man, but could never make that connection to making sperm. So she would never. She might understand physically what it feels like to be a man to a certain degree, but would never actually be able to like look at a woman or look at a man or whatever and create sperm. That couldn't happen. And I don't know what happens with a man when he has a sex change, whether looking at women or men, whatever it is he wants to look at or she wants to look at, whether that's different than how another woman looks at someone, because maybe the man's still doing it. Maybe you lost your male genitals, so that doesn't work anymore. I don't know. And most things we only know from experience, and I don't know that stuff at all. But there's no right or wrong in this. A person's allowed to do what they want, experiment, in their sexuality as much as they want. There's no prohibition against this in Jewish law, and Jewish law is extremely strict. And there's no prohibition against what you do, as a sexual act. There's just no prohibition. Whatever you do is cool. No, you're not forcing anyone to do anything they don't want to do. So this brings us this kind of talking about the way the creation was made, and how the universe was made, and that the human being works in this same way. So brings us to UFOs, because my friend Carol asked me a question that I should talk about this. I figured I could work it into this, because particularly now it's really getting into the news a lot, with pictures of UFOs. And of course, this has been going on for thousands of years. That people have been seeing this shit. Long ago, like when Abraham first came to the world 4,000 years ago, he came to the world and they considered he was a giant, because entities came into the world. And even angels, these are different, I'll explain. Angels and entities came into this world and made a lot of havoc, but they were so powerful that, more powerful than the people on the earth, and therefore they could just take over. And Avram was considered one of these giants because he came from Mars, even though he was a human being. He wasn't he wasn't a angel, he wasn't an entity. So what are angels and entities? So angels are made by God. And God really only made one angel, the angel Michael, the angel of kindness. And from that angel, God made infinite angels. And what are the angels? What's the angels? Malach. And Malach also means a messenger. And these are God's messengers. And one of the things that God does, and it's mentioned many, many times in the Zohar, that God has like eyes on the world, looking at the world. And it's funny, I met this a Japanese woman a number of years ago, and we were talking, and somehow got around to this, and she said to me, I saw one. So I was very interested. Tell me about it. She said, well, I was a kid, and we were hanging out in this field, and all of a sudden this thing just rose up above, the I guess the it was kind of like a cliff, and it rose up above where they were, and it looked like an eye, and it was just staring at them. And I said, I had also a similar experience when I was a kid. That I had this paper route, and I lived out in the country, and particularly in the summertime, it was so warm, and I'd always look at the stars while I was walking, just looking for a meteorite. And so one night, you know what? I saw one. And it went for a long time. And I expected it just to die out like usually they do. Instead, it stopped, just stopped. And it looked like a star. And suddenly went in a different direction. And I'm watching the sky and I'm seeing, a number of these things going around in the sky like this. I remember I went up to someone's door, knocked on the door. The guy came out. What do you want? I just want to show you something. What do you want? Please come out. I just want to show you something. He comes out and I point up to the sky and he looks and he starts yelling, "Hey, everyone come out here." And we could see like planes. We lived close to an Air Force base. And you could see these planes lumbering up, just tiny bits. And these things are just going every which way. And as soon as the planes started coming towards them, they just disappeared. And I always felt, even from that time, I felt that this was something spiritual. These are angels, and they come, and maybe they marked me. Who knows? Who knows about me? Maybe about who knows why it was. But these are messengers from heaven. And the reason why you can see them, but you can't really get them on radar, is because there's no corporality in them. But when they come in, and this is known, when this stuff comes from outside of it's outside of our solar system. It's interesting. Let's see if I can remember where I am. But when stuff comes, that when stuff comes from our solar system, from outside the solar system, that it comes into our atmosphere and it takes on form. So that's how entities would come down, take on form, and come down to the world. But angels, probably when they just get in there, they take on like a little form, but you can't really detect them. And why does God need eyes on the world? Because God can see, God sees everything, sees every atom, sees everything. But sends these eyes to see like we see. So God can see the world like we see the world. And they go around to different places, and these are the eyes of God. And I think that's a very simple explanation to what's going on. And then also there are entities, and the entities, they come from that Adam. See, Adam was was made from two women. From Mars and Earth, they're both considered women. And when he was actually made, he was made with two women inside of him. One is called Lilith, who comes from Mars, meaning she's the result of kind of a very cause and effect kind of thing, came down to Mars, and then God created life there. But the Earth woman, she came from under God's throne, little pebble. And therefore, Adam had two women who corresponded to that. And Lilith was depicting Mars, and Chava was portraying the Earth. And then God told Adam, "Don't eat from the tree of life," which is another question I wanted to answer. I realized I didn't answer this for a long time, but it seems to me, because we have the tree of life and you have the tree of knowledge, good and bad, and it seems like there's two trees, but it always says there's one tree. And what I think, and what I've seen, but I can't be really conclusive about it, but what I think the answer is there is one tree, and the tree of knowledge, good and bad, is part of that tree. And that's why the angels, after man ate from that tree, said now he could eat from the tree of life, and I'll live forever. And God didn't want that, because eating from the tree of knowledge already made him susceptible to negativity. And God didn't want that to live forever. So God said, no, he has to leave. No question, he has to leave. And why did he eat from the apple? Because he told his wife Chava that don't eat it and don't touch it or you'll die. And the snake pushed her, and she touched it. She didn't die. Realized they were both lying to her, and didn't know which one to believe. So she ate it, gave it to the man, and he ate it. And then God was pissed off, and they had to leave. And as a result, Adam said to Chava, "You go, go where you're going to go. I'm going to go with Lilith." And he was with Lilith for 130 years. And during that time, he gave birth to many entities. As the Zohar says very clearly, that all life, other than angels and souls and stuff, the souls weren't created by Adam. They were all inside of him, but they weren't created by him. Well, what was created were the entities, and these had to do, they were sort of compatriots of Cain, who had killed his brother Hevel and was a murderer and could never come down to the earth. And so this is sort of entities which can come down into the earth, not like they used to be able to, but they can find a way in, and they can take on human form, and you wouldn't know one from another, meaning we wouldn't know an entity from non-entity. And then beyond that, you have these dudes in the Tower of Babel, like a few 100,000 of them, who will never be able to die. They can never reincarnate. And when the world, the human soul goes on, they won't. They'll come here afterwards and try to figure out what was going on in this world. They'll be the new, archaeologists. Anyways, God has a whole plan for everyone. No one, nothing is left out. And it's all incorporated in the metaphor of sexuality. And that's why, first of all, that God loves people to be sexual. And the sexuality is known by the number 6, like there's the 6th week. And 666 is a number of real virility. And it makes together the number Chai, which means life. So, sexuality is this very beautiful thing. Nonetheless, if you abuse it, you lose it. Children, so we have to be very careful with children, because children, they were made from sex, and they have all this sexual energy. And that, the parent and the friends and everyone has to respect that in the child, because the child doesn't know really what it is. They know they like to be touched and kissed, and they're very open to that. They're very innocent. And that's why it's so terrible in any way to just take advantage of a child. It's like really, it's one thing, it's not nice to take advantage of anyone, but if you take advantage of a human being, of an adult, all right, it's not nice to do, but the person's an adult and they got to learn their lesson. Children, they have enough lessons to learn. They're not, have to learn. This one, they'll learn it, how they learn it. We all kind of learn it in a different way as we grow up, and how we're, first introduced to it. And the first introduction, I don't know. And now it probably happens, so much earlier in life. But, back in my time, it was something, that, some kid would have a picture, like a Polaroid picture or something, and it would just make no sense to you whatsoever. So I'm getting towards the end, and someone's asked me a question, but I really don't know I don't understand the question. It says, how do you teach these lessons? How do I teach them? I don't know. I've been studying this stuff and writing about this stuff for 50 years, and I open my mouth and I teach them. And that's how I do it. Now, there have been rabbis who have accosted me and told me that I'm not allowed to teach this language, this knowledge. And my answer to them is that the Zohar agrees. You're not allowed to teach the secrets of the Torah, except there's one exception. When the world's falling down, teach it all. So there's no question that the world is falling down, breaking apart. People are really having a hard time. No one knows what the future is going to be. And the people who've been in charge, they just want to recreate the past. And the past didn't really work. I mean, like maybe compared to being in a pandemic, that one would like to go back to the past. But really, the past really sucked. And the pandemic is giving us a way to recreate like sort of who we are. Because just like children, the thing you want with children, you want the children to be free, to be able to explore life. And that's what people are supposed to do. We're supposed to be free. And we haven't been free. We have been slave to the Roman Empire for 2,000 years. And everything that we do is Roman, including the planets. They're all Roman gods, named after Roman gods, and also that there's the months are Roman, and the whole the coin is Roman, capitalism is Roman, religion is Roman, and this is the stuff that we got to break through, because the Roman Empire is a veneer which is cracked and is at its end. Someone asked, crazy question. So I really look clean. Why are you doing the shower? I don't know what that means, man. Do you come out better? Well, yes. Well, it's up to us how we're going to get out. How do we come out of this pandemic? So the way that's up to us. This is our freedom of choice. That's what's special to the human being. And our freedom of choice has been taken to us through manipulation and force, and just to want what they want. And whatever they want us to want, we're not going to just want it. We're going to get addicted to it, whether it's something on the TV or some drug or whatever it is. They want us to do it really a lot because that's Rome. They're into excess. They are famous for eating to excess and putting a finger down their throat and throwing up so they can eat some more. And that's what we Rome has done to us. We have enough Rome because we have enough excess. We don't need any more. And the future, the technological future of chips and bullshit, it ain't going to happen because progress is going to stop. And we're not. This is not where we're going. The human being is not essentially technological, even though people want to say that they're a big thing, that we can make tools. I mean, so can animals, man. But they can't articulate thoughts into speech. All right, let me see. There's a few other things here. Yeah, so someone mentioned the Roman bathhouse, but that's the thing, that's the thing. If you went to Rome, you could always get a bath. You always get a bath. You always get something to eat. And that's the one thing that Rome doesn't do. They want the church to do it. So the church will have something to do. And that's the biggest Roman Rome of all, it's the Catholic Church, it's the Vatican, and the Vatican is a state of its own. It used to have the Vatican had all of Italy, and after World War II, it became an independent state. And that is that's where the cancer is, no question. That's where the cancer is. And we see that every year, it seems, that a an earthquake comes closer and closer to the Vatican, and the prophecy is Rome will be left with one crumbling wall, and that's not going to happen through war. This is going to happen by God, because this is Amalek, and God will not be complete, it says in the Torah, till Amalek is destroyed. And no one has to destroy it. God is getting closer year by year. But the one thing we do have to do, because once it's destroyed, it will be destroyed. And before it's destroyed, Jewish people should go there in droves and get our books back, get our golden candelabra back, get all the things they stole from us back. There's no time for negotiation. It's just time to go and take it back. All right, I've had my say for today. After all that, I have a little bit more to smoke. And just want to say that what is this? Anyways, please go to my website, dovidhouse.com. You'll find some of my books there, a course there about the tree of life, and help you, knock yourself out. Bye.